everyone. Good evening. My name is Orly Gal, and this is Frequently Mentioned LA. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Gia is with us from 6 a.m. I am so honored and excited to have you on this show. It's been a long time coming and planning.
Right.
Man is a busy man.
No, not really. Just been MIA. But thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, not really. We just got back from what 5 weeks of
5 weeks of I guess workation a bit, but yeah, been definitely been running around between Pacific and Southeast Asia, between the festival in Guam and just seeing family in Taiwan and handling some vacation / business in Thailand and Vietnam, which was pretty awesome.
That's also like always super awesome to be able to travel and also do what you love, because
yeah, definitely no complaints, but it's been rough coming back, dealing with the jet lag. So, but
I wish I could tell you there's a solution for that one, but
there is, and just stop taking naps.
For sure. Between. When we got back from Europe from 3 months traveling, I had a show that when I landed, I had a show in LA, and it was from flying from Rome and then playing that show. I was like super.
Yeah,
super out.
It hits you like
a ton of bricks.
Like a train, like a ton of bricks. Like 1 minute you're fine, next minute
you're playing.
KO'd, yeah.
So I wanted to start talking about 6 a.m. What it is, how you guys started. Gia is the founder and co-owner of 6 a.m. and with 6 a.m. I would love to talk about all the umbrellas and how you guys got started and the type of pull and influence that it's had in LA.
So 6 a.m. originally started really just as a passion hobby. At the time, I realized that I wanted to DJ first of all. So understanding that all the DJ names on the flyers had affiliations within it, and being sort of the new guy, I guess coming in, I wanted to create a platform that I can, I'm not gonna lie here, leverage to land DJ gigs.
How old were you?
I was 22, 23 at the time, so this is like 12, 13 years ago. You do the math. So what started as a passion hobby to leverage sort of a selfish motive turned into, into like a lifelong, I guess, passion now of mine, as far as just being really, really wrapped up in the world of electronic music. So, so much more beyond than just DJ gigs. We do events. We've been promoting events in LA since 2008. Really just kind of did anything we could do to just get our foot in the door, to using that brand and kind of to using that new sense of passion that I found. And I can't believe it's been 12, 13 years now, going in, and we have done not only events in LA, but now events in Detroit, a ongoing festival series in Guam, and just most recently on my trip, we did our first techno event in Taipei. So
it's amazing. How did people react to that out there?
Well, there's already a small, close-knit scene, and I was actually fortunate enough to meet with one of the local promoters back in November, and we decided to kind of partner up together because he has heard of 6 a.m. group, and someone from his crew actually has been to one of our events out here. So, this collaboration happened kind of organically. Good synergy, good people, and from there we did the party. Had about close to 200 people, which for a small scene like Taipei, that was really, really good. And just really happy to be able to contribute.
Did people like get into it? Did they know?
Yeah. I mean, they were really into the music from beginning to end. Really, I opened up the night, and then from there we had a DJ that played an all vinyl set right after I was done. I'm like, all right, this guy's just showing off now. But what's crazy is that during the day he is a psychiatrist, a licensed psychiatrist, and at night it's just this ninja vinyl DJ that just crushes it. And then we had Yori, which I just mentioned earlier, a friend of Takaki Ito's and part of the Techno Tokyo Society out in Japan, and someone that we booked last year for one of our work events. And so we had him come out. It was great to have him. And then our event partner, who's also a DJ, closed it out. And the energy was just really good from beginning to end, and just couldn't be happier.
That's awesome. So work by 6 a.m., correct?
It used to be work by 6 a.m., but now it's just under work. So to kind of give you an update, the work event brand was kind of under the 6 a.m. It's kind of what we wanted to differentiate everything we're doing versus just our event. And being that we've been working with Synthetic Minds, which is an event brand started by Marco, who's also a business partner for 6 a.m. I know it's getting confusing.
No. I just want to.
But it's all
the
one.
picture
Yeah.
For everyone, just 6 a.m. is the umbrella.
For sure. And through our partnerships, we decided to just kind of to I guess dilute less of the brand. We decided to just call our events work. And that is going to be the event brand that we're going to be moving forward anytime 6 a.m. and Synthetic Minds comes together.
Oh, I see. So it's just a merger of
It's just a merger.
Companies.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it's just, Marco believes in the same philosophy that we do as far as working hard for your play. That goes with anything in life. So just through our partnership and the amounts of events that we've been doing together, we decided that would be the best move for the brand.
When did you start feeling like you went from being, say, up here into like, oh my God, our events made it. People are actually responding and coming and developing.
What
was that moment of?
I think after a while, like after some time of throwing so many crappy events, like you start to get numb with that. And, I think, it's really hard to pinpoint. For me, it was just something that I knew that I wasn't going to just stop and give up. The journey and story of 6 a.m., everybody wants this cool, fancy story of how we kind of went from this unknown brand to all of a sudden we're on every flyer. It seems like we're doing events every single weekend. It's really just kind of, I guess, sticking through the process over time, right? And it's what I talked about earlier, patience. For us, it's just we never really did anything crazy. It's just we just continue to keep doing our thing over time.
What was that moment that you said, oh, sorry, we have a plane coming through?
Yeah.
Live shows?
Yeah.
What was that moment for you that you booked somebody that you were just like, oh my God, it's happening?
Yeah, I guess the first time that I partnered up with Synthetic Minds and we brought FaZe out, it was an artist at the time that was still kind of, I guess, not completely blown up yet. He hasn't been playing Awakenings and all that stuff when we booked him. And after we did that show, we had about close to 500 people. And that's when I realized, like, hey, this is a relatively unknown artist in the techno genre. And, for the first time, it felt like our event brands and the way that we promoted the show was kind of bringing in our own following, quote unquote. And that was maybe 2.5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, so it hasn't really been that long, even though I started 6 a.m., 12 years ago.
When you started, was it always techno?
It wasn't. It evolved with, I guess, my own personal music taste. Back then I started with trance. From there I got into the mid 2007, 2009 electro. That was when like the era of like Dead Mouse, Wolfgang Gartner.
Right.
That was actually proper electro, and then from there I just got into tech house, and then from tech house just got into techno. So I really had a journey. I'm not gonna hear and say that no, I was always into Oscaton techno and Berghain Resonance.
No, it's just interesting to know the journey because I've seen the scene develop in a certain way as well, and techno has been growing within the LA scene the past, I want to say 2-3 years.
Oh
it's
yeah,
finally
for sure.
started developing.
For sure, but it's been around for more than 10 years, especially with the former Droid Behavior guys. They were kind of the ones that really, I guess, for my generation, was the one that was like, okay, these guys are doing something different. What is this? I like it. Got really deep into it, and that's, at least for me, that Incognito and then the old compression parties done by the Robtronic. So those three all combined, put together, that I think was kind of like the real true LA techno history. And from there, it started to branch out, and shortly after I got really into it. So yeah.
What's your process when you're booking for your shows? Like
Instagram
selection?
followers. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Like, oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. To be quite honest, we usually go with artists that's, well, one, we have to like as well, right? That's always the important aspect of it. Their journey, their story, have they just been around? Are they new, right? From there, also, the relevancy in terms of whether or not their peers support them. Now, this is actually really important, more than support from RA, Mixmag, 6 a.m. group, all that. I think what's really interesting is you'll start to notice that the artists and the DJs that you're following all of a sudden is supporting this one particular artist. And I think that says a lot about this up-and-coming artist, because this is before they actually get on press, before they actually, I guess what you call it, blow up or start to appear on the surface. It actually shows that this artist, not only is he or she potentially talented, but the fact that, these bigger artists are supporting him or her now shows that he or she is probably a cool enough person that they want to bring up. Right. That is so important, I think, for us to actually recognize that. And so that's usually the first, I don't want to call it a trend, but something that Marco actually notices. And it's something that I start to notice now as well. It's like, hey, who are some artists that's just being naturally supported without any pressure, because they're big, just because they're just being supported. And I think that to me is the first click. And if you actually start following you from there, you'll start to notice they're on bigger podcasts. They're opening up for all of a sudden the artist that's been supporting him or her.
Right.
Even if they're just liking their Instagram posts. Now that's one strategy, social media strategy that we use, is then, are these smaller artists being supported by these bigger artists? And if they are now, before they're actually hitting press, then that means that that's going to be the next. I don't know if I'm giving away too much information.
No, that is lovely information for our viewers, I think. We really just want a closer look into what and how and why. Why are you choosing these people? Are they coming to you, or you're finding them? And from what I'm telling you,
it's vice versa. And then at the end of the day, it's really how much work, how much grind has this individual group, he or she, has put in. Our event brand's called Work. Yeah. And we really truly, especially our openers now, and especially our supporting acts, we're quite, I guess, tough in a sense of like, hey, has this person put in the work? Has this person, just been patient? Has just been grinding? Like, these are all the intangibles that we don't talk about. Yeah. And maybe a lot of the promoters don't really care, right? Because it goes back to maybe they just care about Instagram followers and SoundCloud followers and all that. But for us, I think it's interesting to be able to support an artist as they're going through their own journey. And, for us, hopefully in Q3, you'll start to see even, I guess, more new artists on the billing of our flyer. It's easy to just book myself and a few of my friends, for an artist. I do that from time to time, right. But
you have to support your friends as well.
But it's really important, to be able to support characters and individuals that's really just been putting out good work.
That's really great to know, because there's not a lot of brands that will actually support local talent without having something to gain, if that makes any sense. And that really brings me to the work you're doing separately with your teachings. If you could elaborate about
that. I think you talk about a good point in terms of a lot of people doing things for others and hopes for a return, and I call it a this for that. Don't be a this for that. Yeah. I think the reason why there's disappointments in life is because there's expectations. And I think if you're helping others or doing things, for the sake of getting something back in return, then I just think from the get-go, that's just not a very natural move. And, I don't know if we want to get into the whole cosmos and energies and all that stuff, but when your energy isn't projecting correctly, I guess in a sense, it's like nothing good comes from it. It just doesn't feel natural. It just
it's pushed into
do this, and then I do that for you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, do things for the sake of doing things and let things happen naturally.
And I'm glad you focus
think-
on the music rather than that, because at the end of the day, when your DJs are showing up,
Right.
they are there for the crowd.
You
They're
know,
not
and I
there
want to be
for-
right, and I want to be clear and like 100% transparent. I've been in this industry for 12 years. I've done that before, and so a lot of the things that I'm actually mentioning and I guess portraying out more and more on social media, these are things that I've done myself or I have experienced that, you know, that I'm now openly and I guess using humility in a sense of like, I've done that before. It sucks. Nothing good came out of it.
Yeah.
Let me save you some heartache and time. You know, do things the natural way, as those are the things that has worked for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, just want to make sure a lot of people are like, yo, hypocrite. It's like, no, it's yeah.
And so about this project that you have right now, it's your new baby, correct? How long has that been around?
ArtistMap, you know, it's been in my mind for the last 2 years, and it's only been published since January. And I'm not gonna lie, it's taken like a back burner in a sense where phase 1 is done. I dropped the whole mindset, the whole approach aspect of it, and I've just been really hesitant on phase 2, which is social media, branding, the part that all the artists wants to just completely skip.
Yeah.
And go into, and I've been struggling with myself. Like, you know, I can share the entire social media marketing secret on how to go viral, on how to build your brand, on how to, you know, be authentic and, you know, to really get the attention. But I'm like, in a way, I don't know, I'm going through my own battles with that. And I guess in a way, I want to ask you this as well. See, I'm flipping it over. You know, do you think learning marketing and social media is just as important as writing music?
It is. Unfortunately for us, it is. And
Then where do you draw the line as far as like, okay, I feel like I'm ready to put my music and myself out there? Because I feel like that's the part where I'm stuck right now, is a lot of artists, they think they're ready to be put out there, but in reality, they're not yet. And so it's just this push and pull between.
I feel like you need to know enough to launch yourself and see how the world reacts to it. And then I feel like you need to be a big enough person to understand that you need help and professionals to do what you can't do. Because if you're asking me from my experience, I run the show. I am putting music out there, which is terrifying, and without the help of others that actually, I'm gonna shout out my team. Nicole has been amazing. She runs the social media, and Sarah's been doing sound and also helping out with like everything. It's a lot. So
Right.
if you want to focus on your music and what you really are good at, which is performing and making music so other people can hear it, you need the right amount of people to help you grow and get where you want to get. I don't think you can do it all by yourself. I mean, you can, but then you need to understand enough
You're right.
within, like, even if people are helping you, if you have no clue, no idea of how to run your social media and marketing, it's tough.
Right.
Unless
right.
you get really lucky and somebody really is watching out for you and putting you out there without anything. You're just coming out of the
Right.
dark and immersing, which how many
Right.
of those people do you really know?
Right.
You
For
know?
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really important to know at least the background of where things are coming from and where's it going to hit you and how you're going to market yourself, because you might think it's right, but you know, we're
Right.
far away from that.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it's the whole idea of trial and error then, right? I mean, putting yourself out there, I guess enduring the humility or the praise as well. And I think a lot of it, you know, like you said, being self-aware. And I think going through that as an artist, you start to chip away on the ego, which is something I've been just hammering
Yeah.
away, you know, into it as well. So it's that balance between humility and ego and being self-aware. And I think, you know, as long as an artist is self-aware, right?
also have to strip
There's a lot of
down.
cuckoo ones, they
You have to be super
up late,
vulnerable
you know,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So, yeah, that's really where I'm at with ArtistMap. Is just that struggle. Is like, if I put it out there, am I really helping or am I hurting a generation of people? Then just taking advantage and skipping the process of it. Even though I have a firewall that prevents from it, but at the end of the day, if they want the course, they're gonna get it. So.
I mean, I feel like they're gonna go through a process no matter what you tell and teach, because there is a process. You have to be vulnerable to be able to show yourself to your crowd, right? As an artist, when you step on that stage, it's you and them. There is no one else out there. But to get their attention, you need to be vulnerable and portray yourself a certain way. So without the tools to get there,
Yeah, I agree.
how do you?
I agree. And the tools are available. I mean, to look at us now. We're on social media talking about social media.
A very long time. I did not have those tools available. I wish I did.
Yeah.
So if that answers your question, I think
yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
important.
And talking to artists like Ken Ishii, I mean, they were faxing demos back in the day, like faxing. like I haven't heard from them in 3 months. Or am I gonna? Yeah. And 3 months later, it comes back. Like,
it's in your fingertips. At the end of the day, I feel like the people that are meant to be out there and share their music and their passion are gonna make it. And if you're just faking it the whole way, even though if it's available to you, it's just not shining through.
Yeah.
So I think you should do it. I think it's important for people to have.
I've been procrastinating. Really, been coming up with my own excuses.
Yeah, and
That's
he just
what
got
I know.
back from 5 weeks of touring in Asia.
Yeah,
Such a
I know.
procrastinator.
Yeah,
like still running 3 labels. Yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
So, how did this baby start? You said it started 2 years ago, correct? What prompted you to start pushing the project?
Well, after doing this for a long time, right? Really focusing on our brand, focusing on our festival. I mean, everything was very self-absorbed in a sense, and it's been like that for the last 10 years, right? Just kind of always looking out for what you want to do. And, it may sound cliche and whatnot, but our company went through some, I guess, turmoil in a sense 3 years ago, where we made some bad business decisions and, unfortunately lost a lot of capital. That kind of got us thinking of like, why the heck are we doing this? What's the end goal for, all this that we're doing? And I think it was through that realization of not giving up and continuing to figure out, I guess, a reason and a purpose to push forward. I think it's really then just, okay, understanding that we have gone through this journey, have dealt with, the touring DJs, the ones that made it, with just everyone in the industry, and just being able to share that perspective. I just went through it for 10, 11 years. It completely broke me down and beat me into it. And I think being able to share those insights, sharing that perspective, to kind of alter the mindset and the approach of this industry, right? I mean, you first come in here, you're so pumped and excited, like, yes, I'm going to be a DJ and whatnot, I'm going to conquer the world, be the next Tiesto, be the next Richie Hawtin, whatever, not realizing that, hey, that's the energy of a 22-year-old, right? 10, 11 years, you're 33. Add another 10, 11, you're 44, right? If you claim to love this as much as you want to, I'm glad I was able to catch myself at the 10-year mark. Like, holy shit, it's been 10 years. Excuse my language, but it's that. It's really through that whole process of crap. So much has gone through. It felt like I went through this electronic music war zone of just egos and good people, bad people, good situations, ups and downs, and all that. That I'm like, hey, and there's still a vast generation, a scary amount of pool of people wanting to yes, I want to do this. All right, well, if you're gonna do this, here's something that you should consider and think about. It's kind of like bringing self-awareness in. It's kind of like something I wish I read upon, or that hey, you're gonna get what you want, but through the process and journey, a lot of jacked up, fucked up shit's gonna happen through it. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of these things that a lot of people don't realize going through the process. So it was really through that, I guess, intent that I'm like, hey, let's use this platform that we built to actually start sharing some of this information, because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that the truth is going to reveal itself. It can happen through time, which happened for me, 10 years to figure out, oh, geez. Or, you know, you can read this 10-minute thing that we created to kind of give you that perspective of like, hey, if this is what you really want, then this is what's going to happen.
Right.
You know, it's not going to be pretty, and if you fight through it, maybe you'll get there. Maybe you won't. I don't know. And at the same time, it's like, you know, not to go further into this, but this is the root of mental health within our industry. It's having these, not to say unrealistic expectations, but these expectations that are not met with current reality. So people beat themselves down into it, like, you know, and they start to get sad and mopey about things. And this entire ArtistMap thing is really just to rewire the mindset of like, hey, look, to ask to be the Carl Cox, the next Carl Cox or Tiesto or Richie Houghton or whoever you aspire to be, that's like asking to win the lottery twice, right? Not only are you able to live your life doing what you love, but to also be a significant figure, which is, believe it or not, a lot of these, I don't want to call them kids, but the people in their 20s who are getting into it, they see that, you know, they're like, yes, I want to be like them, not realizing 10, 11 years ago, he or she was playing at fucking Burgundy House down the street, you know, 7 a.m. It's a bunch of, you know, so like, they don't have that perspective. So that was really the entire purpose and intent of all this, just to bring awareness.
That's awesome. And are these courses online, or do you actually meet with?
Yeah, you know, it's majority online. Okay. You know, I just dump a lot of perspective, a lot of, you know, stories, fictional and facts into it. And yeah, hopefully, you know, once they realize what they're getting into, hopefully it's the beginning of them kind of doing things the right way, because my generation really screwed things up with social media and the way things move, and just ego and entitlement, and just, yeah.
Welcome to the world.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
I agree. And are you getting feedback from your students? Is
Yes.
there like interaction?
Yeah. You know, right now we have about close to 500 enrollees. I mean, granted, phase 1 is free. You know, in order for you to get through, you have to actually submit tracks in the mix, which a team of my audio engineers actually do review to make sure that, you know, you actually have the content, the stuff to actually you know, level through. And it's yeah, I mean, it's been good. I just have to finish phase 2 to really, you know, I mean, at this point, I think everybody understands what to do. And also with this as well, it's interesting because out of the 500 that's signed up, only 5 have submitted it. That's 1%. And that just shows you that, you know, a lot of people say that they want to do something, but then, you know, it only takes, it's really just a small percentage that goes through.
That's what I was saying. If you have it, you have it. And if you have that connection with your audience, it's going to happen. Otherwise.
Right. However, the best student that I have right now, and just not to like say that these are 5 randoms or 5, you know, whatevers, but it's actually, and it was actually very refreshing. This guy is a resident of Space Miami.
Oh, nice.
As a resident of Link Miami as well, and like he has fully gone through it, has submitted it, and you know, we're kind of currently helping him out in a sense because there's only 5 of them right now, so it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, if you have a mix, we'll put you on the guest mix and you put in the work. I mean, it's how things work. You put in the work, and you know, you hit people at the right time.
It's a huge opportunity for a lot of people. When I saw the program come out, I was like, I need to join.
Yeah, you know, and it's
straight for a long time. You know, it's just really interesting and really refreshing to know that you are doing this type of work for artists, because there isn't a guide map, there isn't a roadmap. It's all trial and error, and it's a journey.
Sure. Yeah, you know, I mean, I pick up a lot of DJs and artists from the airport, and they don't know it, but it's a live interview Q&A, like, hey, how's it going? It's been 20 years for you. Like, yeah, seriously, I ask about their journey, and they get personal with their whole, you know, marriage, you know, kids, all these things, like family, how they juggle, and it's just such good insight to see, like, wow, and this is someone that a lot of people want to be. So, hearing their story and getting their perspective and sharing it to a community, that's willing to listen, I think that's really important for us right now.
What's been your best experience throughout this whole journey since you started 6 a.m.?
All right.
If you could pick one or
oh man, I don't know if he wants me to go public with this, but you know what? I'm going to, and this is completely amazing. All right, so Ken Ishii, right?
Yeah.
The Japanese legend techno DJ producer from Japan. 4 years ago, I brought him out to Guam to DJ, and through the festival, he met his wife in Guam, and they're now together and they have a kid together. To me, that was like, that's the kind of story that just gives me the goosebumps.
That's
like,
awesome.
And it's been 3-4 years now, and I met her when I was in Japan this past November, and it's that to me is
that's so cute.
Music brings people together, and that
it really does.
That to me, it's I think it's why I do what I do. Really, it's bringing that connection, being that platform, and it's not to say that they're the only ones, but that's a very specific one that kind of really will always ring a bell. Like, wow, they met through that.
How about the festival? Your guys' festival.
Yeah, so the festival in Guam. What about it? There's so much to talk about.
Like you're talking about like connecting with people and just seeing
Yeah.
that you created a festival. It's massive.
Yeah, and to do it in Guam. So I was born and raised in Guam. Through this experience in LA, I've always wanted to bring it back home. That's what people from Guam do. They experience something cool. They're like, we should bring it home. And so that was a 9-year project. For the first 2 years, it was just being rejected. And the last 7 years, we've been, running continuously in Guam and introducing all sorts of dance music. We've had Donald Glad, we've had Trent Cantrell Silky, we just had Worthy from Dirty Bird, we've had Funk Agenda, we've had all the biggest DJs from Asia as well, and kind of being able to introduce my home island as well as dance music. It's been a great experience.
That's awesome. How long have you been in the States?
17 years now. Yeah, so since high school. Jeez.
And LA was your first?
LA, no.
Stuff?
So I was in Virginia for 5 years. Yeah. I was in Southwest Virginia for 5 years, random. And then after that, I was in San Diego for 1 and in LA for the last 11.
And what was your ideal of, this is what I want to be when I grow up?
Like, what moment?
No, like in general, when you were a kid, is like, oh, this is what I want to be, who I want to be.
No, like what I wanted to be was a professional basketball player growing up. So that was my entire life before music. But then obviously, I didn't go to the NBA. So then it was really through music and through friends, and haven't felt the same kind of passion for something since basketball. And that's when I knew that this was my second wave. And that's why for this one, a lot of people was like, you're doing it for 12, 13 years. I can't really let it go. I just feel like this is,
where you need to be.
This is where I need to be, and this is sort of what found me. I was lost in life for a couple of years. It was really weird, just waking up, just kind of like going to the gym, going to school, and like not living with, I don't know.
Passion.
So
what was it? Was it a rave, a festival, a
show? It was a birthday party. So because I was in Virginia for 5 years, I was completely disconnected from people back home. There was no Facebook, none of that social media stuff in 05, 06. And it was during my summer visiting my brother in San Diego. And it's weird about San Diego is that a lot of people from Guam, after they graduate, they move there. They just do. It's like a big Guam population there, so not seeing any of my friends or not seeing anyone from Guam and being introduced to this music, to the party, right?
What was the genre?
It was trance, then
nice.
It was TS in Search of Sunrise, O2, Armin van Buuren stuff.
We all remember our first track, that you listen to something, you're like, that's it. For me, it was Tarantula, Faithless.
Yeah.
You wake me up from the dead with any Faithless, and I'll be like, where?
Right. Yeah, no, that's, trance was good back in the days.
Yeah, it was. Well, I want to kind of wrap up a little bit of this interview because we are about to get on those turntables. I want to know the next party that's happening. It's Saturday, yeah?
Yeah,
You're
it's this Saturday with Keith Carnell. Unfortunately, Shlomo can't make it due to visa reasons, so we have Ossian, the replacing, who's on Perk Tracks and Slam, and I'll be opening up the night. So it'll be my first gig back in LA. Looking forward to it. And then next Thursday I'll be playing in Orange County. There's a new night happening in Orange County. So techno is really starting to spread in Southern California. So
yeah, it's very exciting things. So we're just about to switch over to those decks and throw down a B2B. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you tune back in just a bit. The socials frequently mentioned LA on Instagram, Twitter, blah blah blah, all of the above. Please, if you want to stay informed, tune in. I will see you in about 5 minutes. Are we done?